last night in Indianapolis, my phone starts lighting up during the first period of the Stanley Cup final, Game 6, that the Panthers, as we all know, won to win the championship in the season and all that stuff. I'm seeing Caitlin Clark go at it with a former Big Ten rival, one might say, in J.C. Sheldon, who at one point tells Caitlin Clark, "You can't do that." And Clark says back to her, clearly, if you read lips, "I can do whatever the F I want," is what she says to her. And that was first half. Second half, you're seeing on the screen here the moment where Caitlin Clark has what appears to be poked eyes from Sheldon guarding her. And she shoves Sheldon back, at which point Marina Mabry of the Connecticut Sun comes in and just shoves her, like decks her to the ground, right to the floor. And we're playing the feud on a Tuesday night in the WNBA. And it's on. And the officials give a tech to Sheldon for poking Clark, and then they give a tech to Clark for shoving Sheldon, and Mabry doesn't get ejected. I mean, she just came in, third woman in, shoved Clark to the floor, and she doesn't get the gate. And then later on in the fourth quarter, Clark buries a three over Sheldon to give the Fever an insurmountable lead. And she's barking at Sheldon as she's going to the bench because the Sun are calling for time. And she's clearly saying something back at Sheldon, who watched the three get buried by Clark in a 20-point night, by the way. And Clark starts yelling at her own crowd and rallying them and throwing her arms up in the air and walking from her huddle, out of the huddle, across the floor to the other side of fans who are going absolutely nuts. And I'm thinking to myself, I swear to you, it is so rare in this business to see an athlete so plugged into her crowd that her play is plugged in like the Matrix to the sports universe that she is in the middle of. This is like J.J. Watt stuff in Houston. This is Marshawn Lynch stuff in Seattle. I'm serious. This is that sort of stuff. I called Taylor down to start watching this, my 11-year-old, because she wears Caitlin Clark stuff, Juju Watkins stuff. That's all she's doing these days. Honestly, it's just one shirt after another. It's either Caitlin or Juju Watkins. Every day. Every day. And Taylor's got some handle, and we show her all this sort of stuff. And I also don't mind showing her the intense competition here. Now, yeah, I did have to explain to her with 40 seconds to go, Sophie Cunningham playing football on Sheldon. And that started an absolute push and shoving moment that you got to look at the video. There's one.
It's great. I loved it.
Well, there's one security guard who he steps in and calmly keeps the throng of pushers, shovers away from the people sitting in the front row. And he's like looking at them calmly and saying, "I've got this. You're okay." Because it's getting out of hand. And it took a long time for this thing to get unknotted. And I did have to explain to Taylor, like, that's a flagrant foul. She will be ejected for this. Sheldon's going to get her second tech. She's going to get the gate. And sure enough, 6 technical fouls, couple of ejections. And you know what? It was just amazing. Like, if this was the NBA, it would be everywhere. But this isn't the NBA. The NBA sometimes doesn't match the intensity of what I'm seeing on the screen with the WNBA. That's a fact. It's a fact. And I'm thinking, watching this, are the officials up to the task? First of all, it took forever on both reviews. I don't know if you saw this.
No, I'm kind of catching up on
that
on
both
Twitter
reviews,
right
the one after the eye poking and the shoving and the technicals, took forever. Yeah. And it took forever. It's like, listen, Sophie Cunningham is a hard foul. She just used both her arms and threw Sheldon to the floor. Mm-hmm. I mean, at any rate, it took forever for them to look at it. And I'm thinking what Stephanie White, the head coach of the Fever, who are, by the way, going to represent their conference in the Commissioner's Cup against the Minnesota Lynx. And this is the in-season tournament for the WNBA. The coach of the Fever just laid it out all on the line about the officiating not being up to snuff. Like, they need to catch up to a league that is getting more intense and physical to keep this somewhat in the rails here, because, I mean, we're not looking for roller derby here while we're enjoying the intensity. But just watch the soundbite, because it is a 3-shot. It was a wide shot. You could see Caitlin Clark sitting to her coach's left. Watch her reaction as Stephanie White goes in on the officials, because Clark was asked about picking up a tech, and White stepped in and said, I'll take the questions about officiating, and said this.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right, out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. Everybody's getting better except the officials. So we got to find a way to remedy it.
Okay, Caitlin Clark.
I mean, you've heard every coach talk about it. So I don't know what the answer is.
First of all, you didn't see Clark look like that in the presence of her coach last year. Remember, that was all conversation about what's going on with the team. But just watching the WNBA more and more and more, we've got the league pass at home. Yep. As Susie is coming in to do women's sports now later on, I'm sure this is going to be front and center for their conversation on the latest episode of that on the Roku channel as of midnight tonight. Coach White's like, we're all getting better in this league. The players are getting better. The drafting's getting better. The talent level's getting better. And the talent level is showing off they're talented better. But who's not getting better? The officials. Okay. You had me at hello. This is fun. Not for officials. This is intense stuff. And this is stuff that, folks around parts like these and shows like these, this is stuff to discuss. And Caitlin Clark being in the middle of all of it absolutely throws the spotlight on it. All due respect to Paige Beckers, her team is, I think, now only 9 games under 500 right now. And I do believe the two of these star players play one another later this week. But Caitlin Clark had this to say about her evening, where she's pinballed around nonstop by the competition, and then drops in 20, including one on a three-pointer on Sheldon, that she let Sheldon know all about it after calling for time and firing up the fired up home Fever fans.
Everybody knows that's how I play. Like, I want the crowd behind me. Like, they love when I get into it with them too. Like, they're here for a show, and like that's what I try to give them every single night. That's what we try to give them every single night, and that's what makes it fun. And people spend a lot of money and time to come to these games, and like this is a Tuesday night game. I think it's Tuesday, and this place is basically full, and there's so many young girls and young boys and adults and older men that, you know, this might be their first WNBA game ever, and like you want to perform for them. So that's one of my favorite parts of, you know, getting to go out there and compete every single night is, you know, kind of getting to interact with the fans and like be an entertainer in a way.
Sold. I'm sold. Fun. Just wanted to start the show that way.
Love it.
Fun stuff. So, sold, Caitlin. And by sold, I mean pretty much every shirt with your name on it that my daughter's wearing right now. That's a fact. She, by the way, is going to her third straight day of basketball camp today. Hopefully showing off some handle.
Hopefully not fighting anyone.
But I did tell her. No, I did. I did say you cannot take both your arms, as Sophie Cunningham is doing, around the body of the clear path to the basket driver and throw her down to the ground, no matter if she, you know, poked the eyes out of your star player or not. You just that you can't do. And because,
don't get caught.
Huh?
Don't get caught. I mean, you can be a little, just don't get caught doing it.
It was a total takedown worthy of no contest wrestling.
Anderson Silva was jealous, TJ.
You know, one other thing, you said Marina Mabry should have been thrown out.
She should have.
No, she shouldn't have. That she should have got a tech, and that should have been.
That's all she got.
Yeah,
she knocked her to the ground.
Come on, bro. Like these women are out there being physical.
I get it.
Caitlin Clark talks a lot of trash.
I'm sure she
while
does.
she's out there like schooling people.
I know that.
So that's going to make people a little upset, and yeah, you're going to find that. I love it. I think it's great, man. Let them get into it. Let them get physical with each other. But no,
I agree.
She shouldn't have been tossed for that. And we're missing Sophie doing like almost like the Muay Thai hand around the head.
Yeah,
like no one is talking about the fact that she really went for it. Like, I thought it was great, man.
We're talking about it.
Yeah,
and spelling the name right, WNBA. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.